All right, hello everyone. Hope you're all doing well and staying safe. My name is Carlos and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Datagram. Today I wanted to share some thoughts about something that has been going around my head for quite a while and that I've been actually talking with many data professionals. So what we're going to talk today is about organizational structures in the era of big data and artificial intelligence. It's going to be a short presentation. It's going to be about 10 minutes. And I hope you gain a ton of insights out of this because we're going to see what are the organizational structures that are really working nowadays in terms of big data and AI. So starting off, we're seeing a basic organizational structure that we see in companies nowadays. It's basically a hierarchical structure. This is an airline, basically. So as you can see, the first line here are the chief officers, right? So the chief financial officer, the chief marketing officer, operations, or the chief operation officer, etc. So the idea here is that I'm going to start to show you what we are currently seeing in the companies that are struggling a bit in terms of organizational structure. So for example, we're seeing some companies that are starting to embed a chief AI officer, right? So it's in the same level of the other officers. But the question is this a good strategy? The second thing that we're seeing, or the second option we're seeing, is that we're seeing either a chief AI or a director of AI embedded in a specific vertical. So in this example, this person, which in most cases won't be a chief AI, but it would be like a director of AI, would be embedded into the chief marketing officer position, right? So these are the two most common kind of like organizational structures that we're seeing in companies that are starting to struggle. And basically, I have kind of like two thoughts on this. The first one is if you're a small organization, call it a startup, a 20-person company, a 50-person company, this is going to work well, right? You're not going to start to see problems here because even though that position, maybe the chief AI position is siloed, these small companies are able to adapt and work in collaboration. The problem that we start seeing is when these companies scale or when they're a big company, right? And what starts happening is that the different business units start struggling in terms of, hey, I need my data today. I don't need it in a month or 2 months, right? Because I need to make an impact. So they are requiring or requesting that they get their data and they can actually implement what they want right away, not in a week or a month, right? So the question is, how then can we change the way we organize our companies or structures to be able to manage with this new reality, right? Where we need to actually use data in real time, basically, to make decisions. So our proposal basically came out after a research with more than 200 companies where what we saw was that these business units were able to only use their data after 1 or 2 months after they requested it. And when I mean use the data, it's actually use it and implement it, because sometimes it's like, yeah, I got the analysis via CSV file and it could take less time, but to actually be able to use the data in production is another story. So again, in the average, around 1 or 2 months to be able to use it. So what we're proposing here and actually it's not our proposal, it's what we see in companies that are doing it well, is as you can see, we have the traditional structure here. And these companies are embedding, yes, a chief AI officer in here, but as you can see, that chief AI officer has a senior vice president of data where he has a group of people. And in that group of people, they have, for example, business analysts that are embedded in the specific business units. So for example, they would have a finance business analyst, an operations business analyst. And although these people, yes, they report to the chief, let's say, financial officer or operations officers, they report as well to the SVP and to the chief AI officer, right? So actually their direct report would be the chief AI officer instead of the chief financial officer or the chief marketing officer. This just means that they're embedded in those business units, right? Now, it is important to note that although we are evolving the structures to meet these big data and AI need, we need to evolve the tech stack as well. Otherwise, this is not going to work. And the reason for that is because of what we show in this chart. Again, it can be a bit confusing because it has a ton of stuff, but let's start here. So what I did is I eliminated all the other positions. I left the positions that I showed you, Chief AI, SVP, and the business analyst. But now we can see that the people that composes the rest of the team of the Chief AI officer, for example, the data scientist, MLOps, DevOps, security, etc. Now, this team uses a tech stack, and that tech stack is usually composed of BigQuery, Kubernetes, PySpark, DataRobot, Airflow, among many other tools out there. The thing is that this team and these tools are going to start creating a bottleneck. And the reason for that is because these business analysts are going to start requesting things. For example, I need a regression analysis for our sales for the next period. Okay, if you want to do that, we're going to have to process the data. We're going to need to scale machines. We're going to build APIs to send your data to Salesforce, et cetera, et cetera. So that's when things are going to start to take time. So this team is going to be much more flexible, but this team is going to be a bottleneck of this other team, right? So how do we address this? And what we are really seeing here that it's working really well is being able to have a second stack that is independent to this main stack that is lighter and that allows better flexibility or more flexibility and speed so that they can test, right? So now these people can test, can deploy much faster. And when things are proven, when the theory is proven, then they can decide, or the whole team can decide, should we make this core, right? So once it works, this team is going to report to the SVP or whoever their boss is, and they're going to decide, hey, yeah, we should definitely make this core. So these would just go up here, and they would make it in the core infrastructure, right? So they will transform that they did in that lighter stack into the main stack, so that then it could be proprietary, or not only that, they could fine tune it to make it even better, because maybe this lighter stack is not going to achieve what probably this main stack could achieve with all the fine tuning that these people could include in those models, right? So one of the things that I like showing is some testimonials of each one of those of these scenarios. So in this case where we have these bottlenecks, we spoke, for example, with Matt Martin, which is the director of business analytics at GoDaddy, and this is something that he said. For example, our unit has a ton of models, but there's just too many pain points to operationalize them. So again, it shows clearly the problem that this kind of structure has. Now, in this other case where they're using a lighter stack, now we have a person like Alejandro, which is the IT manager at Starbucks, where he says, we're now able to build models in hours and send the output to Intercom in seconds, which allows our marketing team to leverage data without any delays. So again, the two views there that can shed some light in terms of how these different organizations with different stacks can help you push your organization forward and actually leverage data in real time and really make the difference. I hope this helps. And please, if you have any questions, you can reach out to me at cm@datagram.io. Again, cm@datagram.io. Thank you.